you guys through what I was thinking. We did just do a golf video and a first look for this weekend, so take a look at that when you have the moment. But I'm going to jump right into NBA, and we'll go from there. I always like starting with the last games. Obviously, a lot of question marks, especially this early in the day, but they're probably going to continue, many of them, up until later. So just keep in mind. All right. So as of right now, you've got Jordan Miller projecting as reasonable value. I always like to put a slant on the back value because I would rather have the guys later rather than earlier. So I'm fine with that. Assuming that he plays, I actually kind of like both Harden and Kawhi here, but nobody who I'm like going way out of my way for. The Zubac news is kind of important. Obviously, Collins would become a better play, and potentially even Brook Lopez would become the play. So, a lot to wait on in this one, but I would suggest maybe being a little bit overexposed to this game, just as we don't know about Zubac and Kawhi, and we'll hear more throughout the day, I'm sure. All right, Atlanta. What a thing they've got going on here. I'm sorry, Atlanta. I keep saying Atlanta, and I mean Washington. It's Trey getting traded over along with Travis Schenck now in the front office of Washington. So that's all interesting. There's nobody who stands out on Washington. If there was a play that I had to make here, it would probably be George, then Sarr, then Trey Johnson. But I don't think I'm playing anybody, to be honest, from Washington as of right now. Actually, I'm not going to be able to play, so I wouldn't be playing anybody, period. But I wouldn't be playing anybody from there as of right now. Precious, assuming that he starts, is in fact, I think a totally reasonable source of value. I also like Reynaud a little bit, maybe more than the field. And I do like Westbrook. I hope this game stays close. Monk as chalk, never a fun roster. I would probably steer clear of that one. Maybe get some DeRozan exposure instead. That's sort of the way that I would look at that. On the Knicks side, it's a great matchup. I actually like this spot for Mitchell Robinson. Saberson's got him projected a little bit high, but I like the idea of saving those later spots. So I do think that I would be overweight Mitchell Robinson. And then I feel like this is the kind of game where Towns can go nuts. You could say the same thing for Brunson, but I like Towns a little bit better for what it's worth. I do think Towns is a pretty interesting spend up. Dallas and Denver. On the Dallas side, we'll see who plays for Denver. I mean, again, we have Brandon Williams and PJ Washington questionable for Dallas. As of right now, I think Cooper Flagg is probably my favorite play, followed by Klay Thompson. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if no Washington, then that solidifies both those guys, especially Flagg. If no Brandon Williams, then we have to start thinking about Jaden Hardy or potentially D'Angelo Russell, which sounds really weird to say out loud, or Nembhard, really who's ever starting. So hopefully get that news in before 7 Eastern, but I doubt you're going to. Denver side, we've got Jamal Murray questionable on the back-to-back. This seems like a spot where you might rest him. Was awesome last night. Bruce Brown questionable on the back-to-back, and then everybody else seemingly probable. I'm not sure what to do with this game exactly. I think that Aaron Gordon's a very reasonable play. If Jamal Murray plays, I would just go right back to him. If these guys are out, I would go to Jalen Pickett, and then Peyton Watson has proven that he's worth the price, so I don't mind that either. But again, always hard to do these even at lock, so early in the day it's going to be tricky. But I did want to get something out there today because I won't be available later. My mom is coming down and going to spend the afternoon and evening with her. So Kobe White is probably the best play on the Chicago side, at least my favorite play. Trey Jones just went nuts, kind of is part of the reason why I lost last night. Really should have won everything, but hey, it is what it is. And as always, I always like to get more of Buzelis than the field does. But those are my main ones here. Obviously, a great matchup against Utah. The Utah side, when it's chalk, I try to stay away a little bit. It's hard to ignore what Keontae George and Nurkic can do, though. So I probably would lean towards near the field, maybe slightly below. It's a great matchup. Kind of hard to see. It is kind of hard to see Keontae George failing here. George would be my favorite piece. I would take some shots on not, probably be a little bit underweight Nurkic as of right now, although I think it obviously makes sense on paper. New Orleans and Brooklyn. Brooklyn and New Orleans. These guys feel underprojected to me. Now, what I would probably feel the best about is Derek Queen, followed by Zion, those are probably the only two that I really have interest in that I would try and actually go out of my way to get. Brooklyn, a favorite on the road. What a world we live in. Always like Michael Porter Jr., even the 8,900 price tag, he can pay this off if he gets hot. I think this is the kind of matchup where I could see him going nuts. I do like Michael Porter Jr. as a contrarian tournament play tonight. Philadelphia and Cleveland. Everybody looks like they're going to be good to go for Philadelphia, which has me a little bit lower on this game. I think that my favorite play is actually Embiid. Embiid and Maxey, I think, are both reasonable. I'm not quite as into the Paul George as everybody else, but the price makes sense. I don't mind it. I just think you might end up getting some better stuff in a similar price range, maybe a little bit higher price range later. But if we get some of that injury news to come in, and would try to, not go out of my way to play these early games quite as heavy. Nothing standing out for me on the Cleveland side, but I never mind taking a shot with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Again, not going out of my way to do anything, but those would be the two that stand out the most. Indianapolis at home, Jay Huff, man, Mr. Weird Dunker. The guy doesn't never dunk forehand. He just always reverse everything. But no, he's a good athlete, sort of filling in a little bit of the Obi Toppin role for them. I like him just fine. Jarris Walker, those would be my two favorites. Nothing groundbreaking there. I do think, that Siakam against his former team at low ownership. You know what? If you played like Siakam and Michael Porter Jr. tonight and then chalked it up everywhere else, I'm not going to hate you for that. I kind of like that, actually. I think Siakam can have a game. Obviously it's not in Toronto, but it is the former team thing. It is a reasonable paced game. We've seen Siakam not necessarily be super consistent as we've seen in years past, and neither has this whole Indiana team. But at home, I kind of like Siakam. Siakam and Porter, I think, are my favorite two contrarian plays. If Siakam and Porter both go off tonight, you guys can thank me later. If they don't, well, you guys can curse at me later. It is what it is. Jamal Shed getting crunch time run now too. I do like that reasonably, but I think there's better value to have to be had later in the slate. It really depends on whether Quickly and Mamu play. If Quickly is out, then Shed absolutely. If Skedishvili is out, Colin Murray Boyles with a bump. Those would be the way that I'd look at this, but it's a good matchup for all these guys. So I wouldn't mind. I would rather spend on the spend ups though, unless we lose Quickly or Mamu. I would rather stick with in order Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, than Quickly. But if we do lose Quickly, I am very happy to go to Shed. And again, just remember, there might be some value in backloading this slate, because if you get some of these pieces here gone, if you get some of these pieces, oops, not there. Nope. What was the other one? Dallas. If you get some of those pieces gone, that could be huge. Denver, that would be massive if Jamal Murray was out. So you do have a lot of stuff to wait on. Hopefully that news comes in throughout the day, but I don't expect it to. So that's just a quick little rundown of doing this. Please click a like on the way out. We just wanted to get you guys something today. Good luck to everybody, and hope you have a wonderful Wednesday DFS. I'm not playing, so you guys are welcome to win.